All right, let's dive into a true culinary masterpiece. It's something that looks so humble on the outside, but is absolutely magnificent on the inside. The pork meat pie. We're about to crack open that golden crust and find out all the secrets hiding inside.
So, what's the big deal with this pie? I mean, at first glance, it's just a simple golden brown package, right? But inside it's hiding a core of scalding hot, incredibly savory soup. It's not for nothing that people call this a juicy little bomb. It's delicious for sure, but it can be dangerous. And you're about to find out why you've got to treat it with some serious respect.
You know, to really get the personality of this pie, think of it like this. If a soup dumpling, a xiaolongbao, is the refined, delicate lady of the food world, then the pork pie, well, the pork pie is its bold, loud, hearty counterpart. It's the king of the street. It's not pretentious, it's robust, and trust me, it will teach you a very passionate lesson in heat if you're not careful.
So this brings up some big questions, doesn't it? What is this secret that makes this pie so completely irresistible that people are literally willing to burn their tongues for it? Where in the world did it come from? And what exactly makes it so darn good? Well, let's find out.
Okay, first things first, let's talk about the soul of the pie, that incredible, incredible juiciness. Now, it might seem like some kind of kitchen magic, but it's really just a brilliant combo of food science and some super clever techniques that have been perfected over hundreds of years.
The whole secret to that juice bomb really comes down to two things working together in perfect harmony. You've got the dough, which has to hold all that soup, and then you've got the filling, which actually creates it. So let's break down how each one of these works.
The first secret? It's the wrapper itself. It's made with something called a half-scalded dough. You start with hot water, we're talking around 80 degrees Celsius, which kind of cooks the flour and softens it up. But then you add cold water, which keeps the gluten structure intact. And what do you get? Well, you get a dough that's somehow strong enough to hold a whole reservoir of soup without breaking, but is still super soft and chewy when you bite into it. Pretty smart, huh?
Okay, the second secret is just as clever. How in the world do you get liquid inside a solid piece of meat? Well, you pretty much force it in. Cooks use this amazing technique called beating water. They pour broth right into the ground meat and then just stir like crazy, always in one direction. The meat fibers, they act like a tiny sponge, soaking up all that liquid. And then when you cook it, all that savory broth gets released. It's genius.
But listen, it's not just about adding water. The real soul of that broth, the thing that makes it so delicious, comes from fat. The perfect ratio is about 3 parts fat to 7 parts lean meat. See, as the pie cooks, all that fat melts and mixes with the water that the meat absorbed, creating this aromatic, rich, and just deeply satisfying soup. I mean, without the fat, it would just be hot water and a pastry. And nobody wants that.
So now we know the science behind the magic. But a pie this good, you just know it's gotta have a great story, right? Well, it turns out our street king here has a surprisingly worldly and even kind of noble background.
Its ancestor, this thing called the Hu Bing, was a super simple meat-stuffed flatbread. It traveled the Silk Road over 2,000 years ago. For nomadic people, it was perfect, a whole meal you could carry with you. But it didn't really hit the big leagues until the 18th century, when a version called the Jingdong meat pie happened to catch the attention of one of history's greatest foodies, the Qianlong Emperor.
And that emperor, he didn't just like it. Oh no, he gave it what might be the world's first 5-star review. The legend says he was so blown away by the taste, he said he was shocked as if seeing a celestial being. I mean, can you imagine? With a review like that from the emperor himself, this humble meat pie was officially launched from simple peasant food into a true culinary delicacy.
Okay, so we've got the science, we've got the history, now let's bring it all into your kitchen. If you're feeling brave and want to try making this masterpiece at home, you really just need to remember a very simple 3-word battle plan.
The entire process really just comes down to these 3 key actions: rest, beat, and steam fry. First, you have to let that dough rest for at least 45 minutes. This lets the gluten relax and makes the dough soft and easy to work with. Next, you beat that broth into the filling until it gets all sticky and absorbed. And finally, you steam fry it. This is the cool part. You pan fry the pie to get a nice crust, then add a little water and slap a lid on it. The steam cooks the inside while the pan gets the outside perfectly crispy. And hey, here's a huge pro tip for you, and trust me on this one. It's all about the scallions. If you mix them into the filling too early, they can get this kind of bitter, overcooked flavor. So the secret is to add them at the absolute last second, right before you seal the pie up. That way, their flavor stays super fresh and bright.
All right, you've learned the history, the science, even how to make it yourself. Now for the most important part, the rules of engagement.
Yes, there is a proper ritual for eating this pie, and it's designed to maximize your enjoyment and minimize your injuries.
Now listen up. Whatever you do, do not just bite right into the middle of this thing. The protocol is simple. First, you carefully nibble a little hole in the side. This lets the steam vent out. Step 2, you gently sip out that glorious molten hot soup. That's the main event. And finally, once the soup is mostly gone, you can add a little splash of black vinegar to cut through the richness, and then, and only then, you can enjoy the rest of the pie.
You know, when you really think about it, this pie has been on one heck of a journey. It traveled from the wild, nomadic plains of the Silk Road, it earned the highest praise from an emperor, and it eventually found its way into countless family kitchens. It's really the perfect blend of a wild heritage and a super refined technique.
So yeah, this pork pie is so much more than just a snack. It's a piece of history, it's a feat of kitchen science, it's all wrapped up in a beautiful golden crust. It's a story you can actually taste. So I guess the only question left is, what story is your first bite gonna tell you?